How's it going, everyone? So the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League previews have gone live for multiple major outlets. IGN has a preview up, I believe VGC has a preview up, and really, the headlines of a lot of these previews are already pretty grabbing, but I think a lot of us, and I've definitely seen it in my comment section over and over and over again when I talk about this game, as beloved as Rocksteady is, let's be honest, guys, a lot of you, based on looking at the comment section to whenever I talk about this game, exceedingly skeptical about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. The initial gameplay we saw left a lot to be desired, then it seemed like they revamped the game, but there's a ton of elements that are worrying me about it. I'm not gonna go super in-depth on what the IGN previews or the VGC previews said, but if you want to read those, I will link them in the description box below. I'm sure you guys have already seen them ad nauseum. Now, before we get into this video, I just want to ask you guys, please like this video and do leave a comment with your thoughts. It really does help out the channel a lot, and it is much appreciated. But there were already aspects of this game that were very much worrying me that I had alluded to, or maybe even, mentioned them a little bit more in depth in other videos, but we really got to talk about this game, and there's really a lot of elements that go into it. That obviously, it's of a big IP. People are excited about it, but there's so many layers to this that you really have to dissect. First of all, the excitement. There should be excitement for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Suicide Squad is a notable IP, and more so to me, this is a game being done by Rocksteady. I had no care in the world for Batman pre-Batman Arkham. Just not a big superhero guy, never been. But Batman Arkham was such a tremendous game. Arkham City was a fantastic game. Arkham Asylum, obviously, a great game that really showcased to me personally that superhero games could be really good, because pre-Arkham Asylum, my experience with superhero games, look, I liked X-Men Origins Wolverine, but let's not pretend that game was absolutely blow away as much as you guys love it. But for me, Arkham Asylum was a blow away title. Arkham City was great, and Arkham Knight, people hated on the Batmobile sections and weren't crazy about that, but I think most people still agree that Arkham Knight was an awesome game. Batman Arkham, you can say, is legit one of the greatest trilogies in gaming history. You can put it up there with the Mass Effect trilogy. I don't think that's a stretch at all. And, yeah, no slight to WB Montreal for Batman Arkham Origins. I actually did like that game. But as far as Arkham goes, most people think Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight came out back in 2015, so Rocksteady has been MIA for damn near 9 years. 9 years in between major titles. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot to live up to, especially with a new direction, a new IP being utilized in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Inherently, on one hand, it's Rocksteady. I should be excited about this game. It's Suicide Squad. That's an IP a lot of people love. A lot of people should be excited about this game. But the excitement when all of those factors are considered isn't really there at the level that I thought it would be. And then you look at these previews. Let's look at IGN's headline title for the preview. Kill the Justice League preview. We played it and didn't like it. That's a pretty blunt title for a preview. And then VGC's title was a few hours with Rocksteady Suicide Squad isn't enough to convince. Now, obviously, this is going to be a sizable game, a co-op title with a lot of content. Or at least you would think a lot of content. Specifically, VGC noted Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is, as I'm told by a Rocksteady representative, part of the Arkhamverse, but you wouldn't know just by looking at it, and after playing it for almost 4 hours, I'm not sure you would know it was from the same studio behind the best superhero game trilogy ever made. That is a pretty telltale sign about the game, and there's so much to talk about when it comes to this game, and I have talked a lot about Suicide Squad's release structure. And it's a lot of the worst elements, at least from the consumer's perspective, about gaming and how games are monetized in recent years. And before we get into that, we really need to go to what David Zaslav and the entirety of Warner Brothers Discovery has in their future mindset for video games. During WB Discovery's Q3 earnings call in November, David Zaslav, head of Warner Brothers, which I know a lot of people have their varying opinions on, stated their focus for WB going forward. It was on transforming our biggest franchise from largely console and PC based with 3 to 4 year release schedules to include more always-on gameplay through live services, multi-platform, and free-to-play extensions, with the goal to have more players spending more time on more platform. More time means more money. He's not going to say that outright, but more time spent on a game means more money spent. Now, that's not all. Warner Brothers Discovery's David Haddad said the path to that is the accumulation accumulation of keeping live games launch with new content, keeping our mobile game service vibrant, and large launching of new content. When you ask what our goals are, it's really that macro goal of making sure that we get as much engagement with the fans as possible using content and release updates and live services. Now, this obviously is applicable to free-to-play, mobile games, etc., but this is going to also be applicable to Warner Brothers in totality. And what's crazy is we all are talking about and celebrating, at least, you know, it's a celebrating statistic. Hogwarts Legacy just announced that they sold 22 million copies. Hogwarts Legacy is a game I have no care in the world for Harry Potter, but I really enjoyed. What does Hogwarts Legacy have going for it? Oh, it's a $60, $70 game release, and it doesn't have microtransactions. It didn't have live service content updates or anything like that. It was just a straight spend X amount of dollars, get X amount of content. Now, I will say this. I wasn't crazy about Hogwarts Legacy having a meme deluxe edition offering 3 days of early access for a single-player game. That is whack. That is always going to be whack, but what can you do? That's something a lot of games are doing it. And by the way, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is doing it as well. And I would say, now when we look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's release structure, it's even more to assess. You've got the base game being $70. Look, people are going to complain about that. $70 is just a reality. I feel like most people have to accept that gaming going forward, these games are getting more expensive to develop for. $70 games is going to be a reality. Maybe this is me defending the company and the big publisher, but I usually do try to look at it from the lens of the consumer a lot, but I also have to look at it from the lens of the business, and they are trying to make money. It seems like $70 is going to be an accepted model going forward. But it is a $70 game. Not only that, they are doing the garbage of the Digital Deluxe Edition, offering 72 hours of early launch access. Yes, this game does have an online component, an online co-op component. I don't care. It's just even worse when it's a total single-player game doing the early access gimmick. The early access gimmick is just terrible all around. It's a shoehorned in aspect to try to portray itself as, oh, you're getting early access. You're not getting early access. The people that dare to spend $70, they are getting delayed access. That is what's going on here. Don't be baited into thinking otherwise, but that is what is going on. Whatever. Okay, so they're doing that as well. $70 for the base game, $100 gets you early access for this Digital Deluxe Edition. Not only that, this is a $70 or $100 game. And what is the Digital Deluxe Edition? Jumping into the Digital Deluxe Edition unleashes even more mayhem with the Justice League outfits for the Squad 3, Notorious Weapons, 4 weapon dolls, 1 Battle Pass token, and 4 color swatches. Battle Pass tokens are redeemable for premium Battle Pass access seasons 1 to 4. Battle Pass is subject to availability, 1 Battle Pass per available per season. So you could just see, as far as big titles go, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League seems to be one that is monetized to the extent of what David Zaslav and Warner Brothers going forward, their vision is. If you think that there is going to be a Hogwarts Legacy 2, and unless this business model disastrously fails, they will absolutely implement some type of microtransactions or some type of live service component to Hogwarts Legacy 2. I have no doubt in my mind that that is the case, because that is a Warner Brothers goal. That is not up to the individual development studios. I don't think Rocksteady was like, yeah, brothers, let's make this a Battle Pass Suicide Squad game. I really don't think that's the case, but maybe that's also me giving Rocksteady too much credit. But it's just wild to think about that we went from the Batman Arkham trilogy 9 years off, 9 years in between games, and we are getting Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which we'll see how the game ultimately turns out. It could be a surprising game that people love, but when I look at everything being implemented, from the live service aspect, from the fact that it's doing a $100 Digital Deluxe Edition with early access, and given what David Zaslav and Warner Brothers has said for their vision of gaming going forward, and this live service element being introduced more and more with gaming, it is employing the elements of gaming that I feel like my viewing audience absolutely detests out of video games, and I hope that Suicide Squad turns out great, guys. It's a 9-year turnaround between games as far as big open-world Rocksteady games go, and you guys know how I feel about Batman Arkham Trilogy. I recommend those games ad nauseum on this channel, but Suicide Squad absolutely worries me. It should absolutely worry you, and it's not just based on these previews coming out. This is something that I feel like a lot of us have seen built for quite a while, and it's not only just worrying for Suicide Squad, but Warner Brothers properties going forward. What does this mean for a potential Hogwarts sequel? Maybe they'll look at the sales numbers of 22 million copies sold and be like, hey, that's what worked for Hogwarts Legacy 1. Why don't we just employ that in Hogwarts Legacy 2? A $60, $70 straight release, open world RPG, go have at it. But I would have to think that they're going to look at that 22 million sales number, and their mindset is probably, We got 22 million people's foot in the door with Hogwarts Legacy. Now, how do we get more money out of those 22 million people? How do we monetize those 22 million people for even longer? And even if some million of those people fall off, even if it's 12 million people that we can ultimately monetize for a year after post-launch, 2 years after post-launch, that's a lot of money for Warner Bros. That's what's going through their head. From our head, we're thinking, bro, that would absolutely suck for a game like Hogwarts Legacy 2. But from their vantage point, they're thinking, how can we monetize these 22 million people? And, you know, I could definitely think for a David Zaslav, who I don't know if he's super into video games like that, but just somebody in his position being like, all right, we got 22 million people to work here in Hogwarts Legacy 1. I would imagine we'll sell similar amounts of copies with Hogwarts Legacy 2. Now, how do we get more out of them outside of just some meme digital deluxe edition? Oh, you do stuff like what Suicide Squad is doing here. But that is my vantage point. Maybe this is much ado about nothing. Maybe I'm pushing this a little bit too much, but this is one of those games that is worrying me. And you know, to be pessimistic here for a second, it would just be an absolute travesty. Honestly, one of the more depressing stories in gaming, if after 9 years, one of the greatest studios of the 2010s, I know Arkham Asylum came out in 2009, but just to say, one of the greatest studios of the 2010s in Rocksteady, that did the best gaming trilogy in superhero history, that their turnaround and their return was with Suicide Squad, with all of these live element service ingrained into it. Just think about that for a second. Think about how depressing of a thought that is. But I'll let you guys sound off with your thoughts in the comments section down below. Definitely interested to hear from you guys. I'm sure a lot of you guys will be like, all right, this dude is bugging for no reason. He's just going the total pessimistic route. And you guys know how I am. I'm always pessimistic when it comes to gaming, because being pessimistic, it leads to a situation where if they over-deliver, you're just pleasantly surprised, and if they underdeliver, you're kind of expecting it. So that's how I always like to roll when it comes to these things. But I'm definitely interested to hear from you guys. Again, sound off with your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.